Greetings and salutations, I'm Keb, welcome back to this Let's Play of EU4 as Russia, and it's pretty much the wrap-up phase at this point. Only have a couple of years left, and we've conquered the whole planet, and we're just converting everything, and we're just gonna zoom through that, I think, and we'll then do a little bit of a recap on how things went. Let's see, let's see, sure, get some baggy stacks, not that we're gonna gain anything from that at this point. I did spend some of the points before I started here, spend some of the points on starting some culture conversions. So we got a few more of those going. We don't need this one anymore, there aren't any more heretics. Let's get rid of that. Let's see our colonist. That's fine. Let's see, our colonist, where are you? There are you. Where are you? There you are. So I moved you out even though I have a mission to colonize West Big. No, that's right, we wanted to try to... grow, fill in the blanks here at least. So you send here. Yeah, again, we're not going to be able to fill out this whole thing, of course. I don't know why Louisiana just stopped colonizing. But they did. It didn't seem to be because of money. So, I don't know. Quite irksome that they did. Separatists. Yuck. Die. Just in case you need help. And... yeah, you're gonna die, that's fine. And that's the last separatists. Look at that, no unrest. Or rather, no pending revolts at least. Fantastic. Yeah, it really irks me that Louisiana just stopped colonizing, and for that matter, that California isn't colonizing either. As far as I understand how the AI how the colonizing system works, it should have colonized in that area. Ah well. You're gonna go out for in 400 and something days. Yeah, we're probably going to be able to colonize like 2 more provinces, and that's it. It just takes too long to get out there. Travel time is just too much. Still, I am fairly happy about that we've managed to colonize all this much land with only a single colonist. Granted, we took most of it, this is true, and the colonial nations had to do the rest, but still. We never had anything except our default Russian colonist. Didn't pick up any colonizing ideas. So it ain't too bad. I suppose I could have let the AIs colonize inwards here. Gotten around it that way, but yeah. Let's pick up one. Yeah, let's pick up the rifles, why not? Nothing else uses points on at this point. And I'm still kind of irked that we finally got a superb heir. Just as the game ended. So he'll never come to power. Quite sad. And you can hear that little conversion ding in the background there. So things are still being converted. Let's just quickly have a look. Are there anything? Any new lands? No. I mean, we're running out of time. I think the lowest amount of time it takes to culture convert anything is 30 months or so. So, yeah. I don't think I've seen anything shorter than 30 months. We're waiting for this guy to lose that whole pesky modifier. Oh! Did I add you to a trade company? No, you're not supposed to be in a trade company. Menabe. Oh god, please don't tell me I screwed this up by adding you to a company. Yeah, that's fine. Don't care about that, I just want to be able to convert you. Oh! So you're not the one that I've been waiting for then, are you? No, you're not. Okay. We completed the mission. Great. Oh, fine, we're gonna convert, make that city, make Vespign into a city. Never gonna happen. That's fine. Oh, dang it. So that's why you've been, thought for sure I... Huh. Thought for sure they had the, cannot convert religious modifier thingy. But I thought that was up here. I won't. No matter. It'll be converted now. I'm glad I saw that now. I'm starting to wonder. Oh, it didn't show up. Now I know. I'd been stupid and added it to a trade company. Yeah, this is the province that we were waiting. That's true. This is the one we're waiting for the modifier to expire. Which it did ages ago. Can add that at least. $1818. Come on. Just a few more. So at least we're gonna get this done. And I was kind of fearful we wouldn't get that, to be honest. But now it is within our grasp. We'll be able to do that by early 1819. Still in the nick of time. As long as our colonial states don't decide to do something wicked, this should be just fine then. I wouldn't put it past them to suddenly do something to just ruin this whole run. At the very end when it's too late for me to do anything about it. There we go, that's all the conversions started. Wait. Moldavia, do I have any troops nearby? No. Yeah. Fine, I'll with him at court. We don't need the stability anymore. We've already started the conversion of everything. And even though those conversions are going to be a bit slower maybe, it ain't gonna matter. We're going to be able to convert the plant in time. There we go, recall. And that might well be the last province we colonize, but I think we don't have for one more maybe. Maybe. Canada is doing their thing at least. They're settling down things, but the others are not. Pity. Quite the green world. Quite the Russian world too. with some few exceptions. Again, I do not know why. I do not know the triggers for when an AI nation will spend points converting the culture of a accepted culture. I mean, it makes sense that they don't try to convert accepted cultures. It's technically a waste of points. So, I don't know. I really don't know what triggers it. If it could simply be that I need a plethora of points, in which case I should just keep pushing them into diplomatic leaderships and take it from there. It could be all it takes. I don't know. They certainly do need the points anyway, but you might need to just create a massive overflow of points in that category for them to even consider that kind of culture conversion. So there are going to be some holdouts in the new world of other cultures. I can't really fix that. If I'd had more time, I could have fixed it by declaring war on my colonial states. And basically taken 4 provinces, converted those. The problem is that that would take quite a few years, because in order to culture convert them, I'd have to shake them from nationalism. And I do believe the nationalism would still be a 30-year thing if I take them from colonial states. No, colonial states. I'm not 100% sure on that. Colonial nations, provinces overseas might work a little bit differently on that. So I'm not sure. They would still all have the proper faith already, but they would need to be converted culturally. Yeah, sure, let's take an admin tech. We're only several decades behind on admin tech now. We haven't even unlocked the last idea group. And we won't either. But, as we can see, this is fine. So, at this point, we should have an achievement. Let's see. One faith. Where are you? Yay, we have 1 faith. Yeah! Oh, that feels good. I've been chasing that one for quite a few times. It feels good to finally have it. Then again, obviously we're not going to have the thing that was really our goal, namely full culture conversion. But we're close enough, I suppose. Or rather, close-ish. We'll have a look at that once we reach the very end. But I still want to start these. They're obviously not going to finish. But, like 166 months. 150. Need more decades more. But we knew this. We knew this a long time ago. Again, you pretty much have to have the planet secured by 1750. 1748, I think, was the magic year. Because at that point you can no longer convert any province that has 50 development or more in time. Of course, if you secured all the provinces... we tried to do that, actually. We tried to secure the provinces in order of their development. Starting with the highest ones. Exactly because of that thing, but we still couldn't get that done. We started conquering just way too late. I was too timid. These are 30 months. Let's see, that's not gonna be enough, is it? It might actually. 12, 24... maybe not. It's gonna be like 1 month short of the actual thing, and these 650 months, so. Still, we're gonna start them. These are the ones in Africa, I suppose. Are they? I actually don't know. We're gonna start them anyway. Not gonna bother with looking up geography right now. Just want to start them. Feel better about that. So yeah, in terms of points for converting the planet, that has been less of a problem than I thought. Considerably less of a problem. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about once we get to the very end here. I was hoping to get that done in this episode because I think we're now at episode 250. But I think we'll have one extra wrap-up episode after this one. And then we'll quickly go through where we went wrong, and I think I've already been harping quite a bit on it, so I'm sure you know already where I went wrong. And did this guy arrive yet? Just in a few more days. If you're not gonna colonize Winnipeg, maybe we shall do that. How do you want to colonize over here? Yeah, we'll colonize over there. Yeah, he arrived. Final shipment of colonists. Yeah, 400 and something days. They're not gonna arrive in time. No, they're not. But it doesn't matter. So this the extent of the colonizing thing. We missed out on, let's see. 1, 2, 3... 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14, 15. Like 18 provinces or so? Something like that. 18 provinces shy, so about... oh, not even... less than 20 years actually, but more than 20 years, given the travel time of our colonist. So we'd need another like 30 years actually in order to fully colonize the planet. Ah well, we would have needed less than that if California and Louisiana would have colonized this whole region, but they didn't for whatever reason. They just stalled. I don't know why. It doesn't look to be the terrain. It isn't money. It's just that they stopped. And these are parts of colonial California, so... I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, Canada was sleepy for a long time in terms of everything, but all of a sudden they kicked into gear, and don't know why. And I do mean with everything. They even culture converted everything here, including their capital, which was a foreign culture for the longest time. But they finally started doing that. Let's see, we're gonna slow down a little bit now. Mercenaries! Don't think I've ever actually seen this event before. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. Cool. Yeah, lose 50 military points, why not? Not like we need them anymore. Yeah, for that matter, not that we need this anymore either. We are fully unified. We have unified the whole damn planet, so can't get more unified than that. We don't really need Defender of the Faith either. The only thing we need it for is the prestige. Let's see, are there any final culture conversions we can start? I don't think so, we just started a few, so most likely there aren't anything else coming out of nationalism. Let's see, can I sort this by when they finish? Because I kind of want to stop once we reach October 1st. For a couple of reasons. There are still a couple of things I want to test in this game. So I'm gonna do that. So let's see, should we make this a long episode instead? Rather than have an extra episode, I think we'll do that instead. So, okay, let's go straight to the wrap-up of things. I mean, there's still 2 months left, but actually 3 months October, November and December, yeah. But I want to try a few things before we get to that. So we'll start with the wrap-up stuff. Where did we go wrong? Well, let's see where we are. In terms of culture. Muscovite culture is quite expanded. I'm going to switch over to accepted culture so it's easier to see. All these ones in orange are the ones that are still being converted. So we've gotten started on most of Europe. These bits were conquered too late, so we haven't started converting those. Same thing down with pretty much everything here. We started all the things in these regions. Haven't gotten started here. Again, nationalism hasn't died out yet, so it takes 30 years for nationalism to disappear, so... Oh, we even had some attrition. Bah. Attrition armies. Oh well. But still, most cultures have been converted into Muscovite. So that ain't half bad. And again, it's simply because of nationalism that we haven't started the rest of these things. And they wouldn't have cost too much in terms of diplomatic points. Would have cost a fair bit, obviously, but not that terribly much. I mean, we've already done most of Europe, and that's where the most expensive provinces are for this endeavor. Yeah, of course, we can't actually see this over here. We'd have to switch over. There we go. So there are quite a few holdouts. Again, I don't know why the colonial, or what triggers the colonial states converting an accepted culture, which Francian is for Mexico there, or which Castilian is for England. But as you can see, they have converted quite a few of them. I mean, all of this was Castilian land. Similarly, we have the Araqua up here, which have not been converted. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Again, they are accepted culture, but they do convert accepted cultures. I just don't know what triggers it. Same thing was happening down here. They converted most of them, but then they stopped. That's kind of frustrating. And the only way to solve that is simply to let them go, attack them, take those provinces, or 4 of those provinces, no more than that. Because you can't let, if you take 5 provinces, they'll form a new colonial state, and then you'll be back where you started. So yeah, this is kind of difficult to deal with, unless you can make your colonial states convert them, and I don't know. I don't know the tricks, but again, I assume it's simply a matter of just pushing them to have diplomatic leaders at all times, and over time it should pan itself out. But other than that, we'd have to go and, yeah, steal land, wait for nationalism to die down, then culture flip it, and then hand it back. Ugh. That would be too much of a hassle, I think. So, all things considered, I'm okay with this. We didn't finish the job. We were about 40 years too late. And that brings us over to what did we do wrong? Well, we can start with our ID groups, I guess. I went with diplomatic ideas first. Now, the reason I did that was simply so I could get the finisher, primarily. I wanted this so I could do royal marriages with all of Europe and just break them as soon as they were no longer advantageous, simply because I wanted to play the Game of Thrones. I wanted to see if I could get some personal unions and get land for free, basically. We didn't really get much out of that, sadly. We did get Denmark, we did get Bohemia, which was fairly blobby and in the middle of the empire, which was rather useful. But we had to fight for both of them, so we did get a bit of aggressive expansion from doing that. So we didn't get any complete freebies. We did have our dynasty on the throne of Spain for a long time, but Spain was our ally, and I didn't take the risk there. I could have just kicked them out from the alliance much earlier and attacked them. But if I'd done that, I don't know how we would have succeeded with their colonial empire, because I think their colonial empire would simply transfer to us, and then they would all be Castilian nations, and we'd kind of be screwed. So I don't know if that was a bad move or not attacking Spain when they had the chance. Well, we had to have them in a truce period of 5 years anyway, and then we have to fight Spain, which at that point was pretty potent. I don't know, so I really don't know about that. So in terms of this, as the as the main reason for going diplomatic ideas. That was probably stupid. Should have, yeah. Game of Thrones is basically a gamble, and we kind of failed there for the most part. As for other things in this idea group, well, diplomats, that's nice. Extra relations is useful, but not overly so. That was completely worthless to us for the most of the game. Simply because once you hit absolutism, you cannot hit that button anymore. So, yeah. That one, on the other hand, is useful. Improved relations. That lowers aggressive expansion a fair bit. So that wasn't bad. This one was very useful for quite a few things, especially for procuring vassals. We did do quite a bit of that. War score cost is, of course, also quite useful. But that's more useful in the later part of the game, where you're not constrained by aggressive expansion, because in early game you're constrained by aggressive expansion more than anything else. More than the point it takes to core it, more than the war score, more than the battle you have to fight for it. So, I don't know. And then finally the finisher. I mean, this one sounds nice. Minus 10% on diplomatic cost. The problem is that you spend way more points filling out the whole of diplomatic ideas than you ever save from this particular pick. Because you won't be taking up so much when you're doing a culture conversion run. And then there are policies attached to this diplomatic idea groups, and most of them are fairly rubbish for what we were trying to do. So all in all, I think it was a bad choice. The only thing that mattered was the one with the religious ideas there. That one was kind of useful. Next to missionary strength, because we need to convert the planet anyway. But I think ditching this and instead being defender of the faith much sooner would have been just as good. So I think we might have made a mistake picking diplomatic ideas first. I think we might have wanted to go influence first, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's this. Diplomatic annexation cost minus 25%. You start off with a ton of vassals, and that's still true with the new setup in Russia. As far as I know. I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to do that after this game. So I think this one would be better. One other thing here, if we have this pick, we'll be able to do a hell of a lot more of vassal feeding. Now, you needed the first 3 idea picks in order to unlock your first idea, right? Anyway. So we would have no extra core extra cheaper cores until we got to the 3rd idea group anyway. So either we need to double up and get to this one and get really cheap cores right away and core everything ourselves, or we can go influence, get to this point, then start integrating all our vassals, which we would have used to feed. Well, we would have fed them all the lands in the surrounding area. For the most part, I think we would have been strong enough to keep our vassals down. But we could have used our vassals to feed them most of Novgorod, some bits of the steppe hordes, and I think I should have been far more aggressive against the steppe hordes, because the only thing that holds you back on that side is if the Ottomans get pissed at you from aggressive expansion. The thing is that at the start of the game, the Ottomans don't know you. So I don't know if they actually can build up any sort of aggressive expansion with you until they know you. So I think as long as you can contain these guys, you should just go ham on the steppes. The problem, of course, is that you cannot convert the provinces easily until you have religious ideas. That's the downside. And I don't know if you could swing that around somehow. I don't know if there are any conversion powers among your vassals, or among vassals you can easily take. But yeah, I still think maybe we should have gone influence first instead. And of course we had the 4th idea there with the aggressive expansion impact, and I think this idea would probably have been just as strong as the improved relations modifier over time. And of course you'd still get some extra diplomatic reputation, and an extra relation slots, and yeah, everything else. You might not want to go with this one, to be honest. Actually, no, that's right, that's how they convert. They give a force limit to you, right? It doesn't increase their force limit, never mind. And then you have the unjustified demands, which is always nice. So yeah, I think influence first would probably have been a better pick. Even admin first. But it's always going to be like this. The first 3 idea groups you pick, they're going to decide your whole game. And we know that we needed influence and we needed religious anyway. So I think I would have gone in influence first, then religious, and then admin. We would still be... it would be very late to take admin this as a third idea. I agree on that. But I think we would have been able to do a hell of a lot more of vassal feeding up until that point. And that would have made us stronger overall. We did use the whole... we did use a slight cheat in order to take all of Lithuania as a vassal. That will not be possible without that cheat, of course. We'd still be able to take all of Sweden in a single war. We'd still be able to take all of Norway easily in another war. The Teutonic Knights, if they were vassalized, sure. But Lithuania would have to split up a bit. We'd have to take some of their provinces and just make them less potent before we could take them. I don't know if this combines with that particular policy of the first era. The one where it lets you transfer subjects for easier, for cheaper. I don't know if this one, flexible negotiations, combines with that. I don't remember anymore. In that case, then this was valuable, but I think we conquered these things before we got to that idea anyway, didn't we? Don't even recall. Now, obviously, for what we were doing, for conquering the planet, we need this. We need admin ideas at some point, preferably sooner rather than later. And of course, we want admin combined with influence for the cheaper integration. We need influence and religious to start the culture conversion process. I don't know if it's necessary to start the culture conversion process that early, though. But we kind of needed to get religious early on in order to convert the steppes. We need to convert the planet anyway in order for them to do this, so we need religious ideas early. So I think I wouldn't want to try to take it as a third pick after all. I think influence first, religious, and then admin would have been the better choice. The only outlier on idea groups would have been to take exploration ideas. But the only reason you take exploration ideas is so that you can spawn colonialism and the institution. Because that's going to be our problem in the early game, getting the institutions to spread all the way our way. We did a hell of a lot of development in order to get them up here. And it's always going to be the first three that you struggle with the Renaissance, which is simply down here and they're just going to crawl up your way. Colonialism, which can spawn anywhere, depending on who takes what ideas. And printing press, which will usually spawn in Germany. I don't think it'll spawn anywhere else. And that will be kind of difficult to get over to Russia. And the ones after that, it's not going to be a problem, to be honest. Manufactories and all of that, that's going to spread your way fairly quickly anyway. It's the first three that are problematic. And that also means that this ID group that Russia has out there, it's fairly useless, to be honest. It's incredibly much weaker than the earlier idea with the cheaper tech costs. That one was awesome. This one is crap. It comes too late. If that had been the first idea, instead of core creation, which I really hope they never do, but at that point it would be useful. By the time you flesh out this, you'll have gotten the first three institutions, and they are the ones you really need, so I think this one is a crappy idea. I don't remember if that's changed in the new idea sets for Russia. Of course, we know that once that is gone is the culture conversion cost here, which is why we played on this version of the game after all. Ultimately, though, I'm not certain if this was a make or break point. Because the amount of diplomatic points we needed for this, it has felt fairly easy to do. The only problem is that we haven't conquered the planet fast enough. So I don't know. I think this can be done without this culture conversion cost reduction ideas. Though I think it would be best to be a horde so you can burn down development and save some points that way. That's probably a better approach than having a fixed modifier. Then again, now that Russia no longer has this modifier, I don't know which nations are going to be fit for a world culture conversion run. But again, it looks to be more of an issue of conquest speed rather than actual point generation, which is what I thought it was. But so I think a nation that can actually conquer the planet quickly and convert it quickly is better suited for this, even if there is tons of development, which means we could probably do this as France and Spain, or the Ottomans for that matter. I think they might actually be better suited for this. even if they don't have any kind of culture conversion cost ideas. Yeah, I think the missionary strength from Spain is probably more, probably better. The same thing with the Ottoman tolerance. I think those ideas would be better. And of course the Ottoman core creation cost. So there's that. But yeah, I think influence ideas first would have been a better choice. As for the remaining ideas, would pretty much, I think I'd still have gone quantity fairly early. Quantity was pretty much what unlocked it for us. At that point we could get a huge army, we no longer had manpower issues, and we were much more free to just conquer land outright and all in multiple wars at the same time. Because what usually holds you back there are the rebels. You only have such and such large an army and need to be able to be strong enough to kill the rebels. The rebels will usually be stronger than the armies you defeated in the war previous. So yeah, there's that. You could of course have gone humanist. That's certainly something that I had considered at some points. And I do wonder if we should have done that instead. The problem is we couldn't have done that until our 5th idea group. Because we needed admin, we needed religious. I don't think we could have done the same thing with humanist ideas. We still need to convert everything. But of course the advantage here is you'd have less unrest, you'd have more tolerance, the separatism, that one for example would have been fantastic. And yeah, so would this, improved relations. So I don't know, humanist ideas would have helped a great deal, but again, all idea groups are stronger the earlier you pick them up, so humanist ideas first would have been great for most games. The problem is, if we'd done that, we couldn't have picked admin ideas until the 5th idea group. Because we would have to take religious ideas third, and at that point we couldn't take another admin idea. And I think taking administrative ideas as a 5th idea group would have been too late for the conquest thing. Because we need to start conquering the planet earlier than I did. I started in 1650-ish. But we didn't really start until we get 1700. I should definitely have gone Golden Age much sooner. I think we should have gone Golden Age the second we got absolutism up to the earliest cap. That's the other thing. I probably made a huge mistake there. I should have gone with the disaster. The court and counter disaster. We should have triggered that ASAP, so that our absolutism cap would go up. Let's see if we can find the darn thing. Absolutism is over here, right? Yeah. I think if we'd had a court and country, we'd have had an absolutism cap that was 20 points higher. And if the cap was 20 points higher, we would never really suffer from this thing that I suffered through the entire game, where a slight change in our legitimacy would lower the cap of autonomy, and you'd suddenly have the threshold, the aggressive expansion threshold or overextension threshold, suddenly crash down, and you'd have overextension and you'd have rebel problems and all that fun stuff. We could have avoided that by taking that early. That would have delayed us a little bit because court and country lasts for 10 years and it could be a bit problematic to get all the rebels down if we're also fighting a war. But yeah, so I think that was one mistake of mine. I should have, as soon as the Age of Absolutism kicked in 1610, we should immediately have tried to trigger that disaster, then spike our absolutism to absolute cap, and then start conquering. And at that point we should have kickstarted our Golden Age immediately, and conquer as much of territory as possible before 1700. I think that would have been a better idea. So delaying that was bad. Again, I delayed the Golden Age because I thought it would impact culture conversion cost reduction as well. But that doesn't seem to be the case at all. So that was a mistake of mine. It does apply to coring cost. I assume it also applies to integration, diplomatic annexation. But it does not appear to affect culture conversion costs, at least as far as I could tell. But I could be wrong there. I didn't actually look that closely. I also find it a bit funny that all these cultures still remain. Most of them are gone. Or are these... Oh, these are actually... No, we still have Silesia and Rhenian. Oh, they're probably the whole house provinces. Never mind. Portuguese. cultures that still exist. Sort of. We accept a couple of cultures that no longer exist. Like Turkish and Swedish and Norwegian and Danish. Gaelic. They're long gone. Let's see, what else did we do wrong? Yeah, I didn't mention that we started conquering too late. And I was also much too timid about vassal feeding. I clearly made a mistake there. We should have done a hell of a lot more vassal feeding in this game. Especially early on. Simply because of how the game pays it forward, so to speak. For example, initially, if we had gone influence first, any land that we conquer up until this idea here, it would be better for us to have our subject state take the land and core it at full cost, and then once we've unlocked this idea, we could integrate the vassal, but we'd had a 25% reduction in diplomatic cost compared to admin cost for the land, so it would be cheaper for us overall. That kind of paid forward thing. And the same thing is true once we get both admin and influence combined, so we get the policy and another 20% reduction. So we could, if we had vassal fed or subject states up until the point where we had both of these idea groups fully fleshed out and the idea active, well, then it would have been a lot easier, a lot cheaper for us. Yes, we would have paid diplomatic points instead of admin points, but that's okay. We wouldn't have needed the diplomatic points for all that much else anyway at that stage. Again, we would have needed to conquer the planet and convert it before we could start our culture conversion rush anyway. And the point where we had those two ideas, if we take influence first, would still be around 1500 to 1550, something like 1550 to 1600, something like that. And that's fine. We wouldn't need to start culture converting until we hit around something like 1650, I think. Points from 1650 to the end of the game should have been quite sufficient if we had decent monarchs. The biggest issue there is simply to have all the land in our ownership and, of course, converting it, which takes a hell of a lot of time. So that's another mistake we made. Then there are our colonial states. I was very timid about breaking Spain, and clearly that was one mistake because it took so long to destroy Spain because of that. In retrospect, I could have solved it by doing one thing differently. I could have destroyed Spain first. That would have... I think if you conquers all of Spain, it frees up their colonial states. I don't think they transfer to you, like vassals do. I don't think so. I think colonial states are a bit separate on that. I don't remember. There is one, either when you diplomatically annex them or when you outright conquer annex them. In one of those cases, the colonial states break free. I just don't remember which case. But I think it's outright conquest when they get their independence. Don't quite recall. But that could have been a way to do it. And if we'd done that, we'd have had a whole bunch of separate colonist states which we could have warfared separately. But if we'd waited for that long, our colonial states might not have had time to convert all this. So there's that. Again, the nations would have... The same thing applies as for you. The nationalism would have to die down. They have to convert it and then culture convert it. And again, I don't know what triggers the colonial states to do this. I assume it's simply a matter of excess points. So I think if we'd forced them to be diplomatic leaders from the very get-go all the time, then maybe they would have done the job. And not just fallen asleep and not finished the job. I don't know. So even if I'd done my part, they would still be crap. The alternative, of course, would have been to destroy the colonizers before they established colonial nations, so that it would only be you colonizing. But if you wanted to do that, you pretty much would have to go into both exploration and expansion to get enough colonists to get everything done. Or you could have played Spain. If you had played Spain, it would have been considerably easier to do this. You can destroy Portugal fairly quickly. You can stall England and France if you really want to. So that would have been easier. Yeah, Spain might have been a better choice for this, for that particular reason. But again, you'd have to sacrifice early ideal groups in order to get that done. Spain wouldn't have been that dependent on religious ideas early because they have extra conversion power in their national idea set. So, yeah, Spain might be a good idea for this, for a world conversion thing, culture conversion. At least in the sense that they can control the New World a lot better than anyone else. Another mistake we made was we didn't push towards India fast enough. Once you first get down to India, aggressive expansion is pretty much all contained to that region. It doesn't spread all that much to China, which was our biggest fear at that moment. It doesn't spread all the way to the Ottomans, which we were also kind of concerned about. But so yeah, I think pushing as Russia, pushing into the hordes first, get a tendril down to India, and then conquer the entire subcontinent would be great, because as soon as you turn this over to the trade companies, you're going to get a lot of money from them simply because the autonomy floor is reduced to 0. You're not, of course, going to get much in terms of, well, anything else. You're not going to get much in terms of, what's the word? Tax income? Isn't that the one that is reduced? Belongs to trade company. But it's not 0, even though it's very much reduced, it's not 0. So there's that. And same thing here. It's heavily reduced, yes, but it's not 0. Of course, you have the traditional ambition of Muscovy to counteract this. So for us, since we get a plus 75% anyway from being Muscovy, we largely offset the trade company penalty here. So we still gain manpower from this whole subcontinent. Not as much as we would have gotten with direct ownership, but still, it's not nothing. So yeah, I think that was a mistake on our part. And of course, when it comes to the trade nodes, I was kind of uncertain here. I really thought I needed Kashmir in order to push trade up here, but I was of course mistaken, because trade is pushed from Indus all the way up to Samarkand, which is one of the few nodes, as far as I know, that simply cross across another one without actually, yeah, you can see it here. It just crosses across the Kashmir. I really thought there was some kind of strange mistake here, in that you could funnel trade in a circle, but it was not. It just trade flows from Indus to Samarkand. So even if we didn't need to conquer Kashmir at all in order to secure all the trade of India, and ferry it up to Samarkand, and then up to Astrakhan, and then up to Novgorod. So I think that was a mistake on my part. I should have gone much more aggressive to get India. And we probably should have tried to break China earlier. Again, the amount of trade you can get from this whole area, especially if you trade company it, is immense. And we did spend a lot of time beating down the Ottomans. I think that was a mistake too, because we needed the provinces, this is true, for the restoring of the Pentarchy. But I think once we'd secured these religious provinces, we should have left the Ottomans alone, for the most part. Maybe we should have tried to contain them, so they didn't spread all the way down to Africa. But by and large, India should have been our priority in that, rather than killing off them. We left Poland alone for the longest time, simply because I wanted to see if I could try more Game of Thrones tactics, and that was for most of Europe actually. We left Europe alone for a long time, and I shouldn't have done that. We could have attacked them, bits and pieces of them, and gained some aggressive expansion that could have died down. That would have been better. Ultimately though, what we did was simply we got so strong we didn't really care anymore. And that's the other way of doing it. And we could probably have done that easier by going into India first, and getting India and China for that matter. If we'd had these areas under our control, we'd have gotten so much manpower gain once the autonomy died down that would have been okay. So yeah, that's some of the mistakes we made. And there are probably more. But those are the ones I can think of right off the bat. But the main problem is that I didn't start conquering soon enough. I should have started in no later than 1650 to conquer the planet. But hey, what can you do? We tried our best. And ultimately it looks like the world is quite orthodox. It is fairly Muscovite. Getting some more done. So all things are okay. But before we end this campaign, there are a couple of more things I wanted to try. First of all, I want to try this button. I want to see what happens. Obviously, what's gonna happen is what it says right there. We're gonna restore the Roman Empire. And what that basically means is, of course, we become Rome. And the interesting thing is this one. All primary culture provinces will now have Roman culture. And that's what I wanted to see. Yeah, I want to see what happens. Since we're in the middle of culture converting, so I want to see what happens to provinces that are being culture converted when you hit something like this. And I also want to see what happens to our colonial states. So we're going to do that, just to see what happens. We're already done with what we wanted to do, gotten the achievements we wanted, so it's fine to start experimenting a little bit. So there we go, clicky. We are now Rome. And yes, we'll take the new ideas and traditions, just because. So we are now Roman. They didn't change their color. I thought they did that automatically. But hey, we are now Rome. Proper Rome. Definitely the third Rome now. We are now... still says Tsardom. That's true, because it was the Empire rank that changed. Idea groups are now the Roman ideas. Fair enough. Not that that really matters anymore. Let's see. And what else? Yeah, of course we are going to be fully Orthodox. That hasn't changed. Orthodox Rome. Capital is now Rome. Culture is Roman. Can I even change this? Right, I can still change it back to common all the cultures. We're not going to do that, obviously. And we're going to switch over to culture mode. An accepted culture mode. So now all of this has become Roman culture. Our colonial states remain Muscovite. That was expected, to be honest, but I wanted to be sure. As for these... yeah, culture conversion will still convert to the existing culture. So though I set it to convert to primary culture, they're still going to become Muscovite cultures. They're not switching over to be Roman culture, though we've switched our primary culture. And now I want to just unpause and see what happens. Yeah, that's true. That's happening. That's definitely happening. Why did you ally? It hasn't updated this tooltip yet, but as you can see, they're allying each other. And that's because their local... I think their autonomy should have gone over the limit. They're still our vassals, right? They're still our colonies. That hasn't changed. Liberty's desire should have changed because of culture differences? No? Okay. Kind of surprised though. I would have thought they would have changed the colors automatically. Maybe they changed that after this, so we can always switch them around and just go kaboom. Actually, no, we can't change your map color, can we? Because that's what I wanted to change. I want to change their map color. And yeah, you get your new flags, but you don't get the map color change, do you? No, I can change their name, I can change their flag, I cannot change their map color. Actually, I can't change their flag either, I can change their name only. Okay, fair enough. They're never gonna change their color then. Thought we could do that. Pity. Okay, at any rate, that concludes the experiments I wanted. I wanted to see if converting a master tag would change culture conversions in progress. Obviously, it doesn't do that, which is sad. Colonies should change to primary culture. Yeah, they changed to Roman. So colonies are fine. But not culture conversions, they do not automatically transfer. But these all became Roman immediately. Unfortunately, we could not impact our culture on our colonial states. So, that's that. Okay, so even though we're no longer Russia, we are the proper heir to Rome by being Roman and the Empire completely. We own the whole planet. Obviously, you're the largest of everything, and that's gonna be that. Okay, so that's the end of this Let's Play on this very much extended episode. I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough. It has been fun. It has been challenging. I'm sorry I didn't actually complete the objective of the game, but still, we got close enough. At least I know that I'm about 40 years shy of where I need to be. So if I'd started conquering 50 years earlier, we should have been fine. So I was too timid. Such is life. Now we are going to start a new game. I don't know quite which nation to play yet. So if you have suggestions, by all means let me know. I'll probably wait until the next expansion is out. That should be in about a month's time. So I'm inclined to wait. I don't think we can really play a full game in just a month. And I don't want to do the same thing again where I don't play on the current version of the game. So we're going to wait for Cradle of Civilization, I think, with starting another EU4 game. But if you have suggestions to what nations I should play, by all means leave that in a comment and we'll put it under advisement. Because primarily I want to go for achievements. I still lack a ton of achievements, specifically the ones tied to specific tags. But if no suggestions show up, or no interesting ones show up, we're just gonna go with random nation instead, I guess. We'll see. For now though, it is time to end this. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll keep watching some other episode of mine, or the series of mine in the future. Thank you for watching.